The phone rang while I was staring at the lake outside my villa in Switzerland. 71 missed calls, all from the same number. My daughter-in-law. I watched the screen vibrate against the marble countertop. Calm. Controlled. A week earlier, her voice had been sharp enough to cut skin. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes," she'd shouted over the phone. No greeting. No respect. Just entitlement wrapped in cheap superiority. I remember the silence that followed. I had smiled. "Enjoy," I replied. Nothing more. She thought I was the aging father who needed an invitation to feel relevant. She didn't know I had already transferred my assets. Didn't know the Swiss property was under a separate holding. Didn't know the will had been rewritten. And she certainly didn't know why I no longer cared about holidays. The phone kept ringing. 72. I picked it up, erased the notification instead. Because the real betrayal had happened long before Thanksgiving. It began with my wife and her hatred for my therapist. "Hey, I hate your therapist," she would say every evening. "He's arrogant. He thinks he's better than everyone." At first I thought it was insecurity, projection. Dr. Karim was clinical, reserved, confident, the kind of man who spoke in slow sentences and watched people squirm in their own truths. She had never met him. That's what made it strange. Every Tuesday when I returned from my sessions, she would interrogate me gently. What did he say about me? Her eyes would narrow slightly. Too focused. I told her nothing important. Because most sessions were about stress, work, aging, family tension. She would sigh dramatically. "I don't trust him." Trust. An interesting word from someone who began locking her phone, who started going out for walks after dinner, who suddenly needed space on Tuesday afternoons. The same time my therapy sessions ended, at first I dismissed it. Then one evening I noticed something small. When she said, "He's so arrogant," her lips curved, almost fondly. Not disgust. Familiarity. I didn't confront her. I adjusted. "Hey." I booked an earlier appointment without telling her. I told her my session was canceled. Instead, I sat in my car across from Dr. Karim's private office. 2 hours. I watched. My pulse never changed. At 4:17 p.m., she stepped out of a taxi. Not surprised. Not hesitant. Confident. She checked her reflection in her phone before walking inside. Not like a patient. Like a woman entering a hotel. I didn't move. I didn't breathe differently. I only observed. When she exited 90 minutes later, her hair slightly disheveled, lipstick reapplied, she was smiling, the kind of smile she hadn't given me in years. Still, I said nothing. Instead, I installed a GPS tracker under her car the next morning, not because I doubted what I saw, because I prefer confirmation. Patterns emerged quickly. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, occasional Saturday yoga classes, always the same building, always the same duration. I requested phone records through a private investigator. Quietly, legally, encrypted messaging, burner numbers, hotel bookings under his assistant's name. The arrogance she despised? She was sleeping with it. But betrayal was only half the story, because while she was busy playing therapy, my son and his wife were busy calculating inheritance, subtle comments about downsizing, casual discussions about estate planning. My daughter-in-law once joked, "You can't take it with you, you know." I agreed. That's why I moved it. Transferred assets to offshore accounts. Sold the city house. Purchased the villa in Switzerland anonymously. Rewrote the will. My son would inherit modestly. His wife, nothing. I watched them all play their roles. The adulteress. The greedy heir. The therapist who thought he was untouchable. And I waited. The confrontation happened on a Tuesday evening. She was pouring wine. I placed my phone on the table and slid it toward her. A map, red dots, dates, times, coordinates. Her hand froze. "I don't understand," she whispered. "You do," I replied. I showed her the hotel receipt next. Then the phone records. Then a photograph of her entering his office. She went pale. There was a moment, brief, where she considered lying. I could see it. Calculating. But she realized something else. I wasn't angry. I wasn't shouting. I was detached. "How long?" I asked calmly. Tears formed instantly. It was a mistake. I nodded slightly. 2 years is not a mistake." Her shoulders collapsed. She reached for my hand. I pulled it away. Not violently, just precisely. "I hated him," she sobbed. "No," I corrected. You loved that he wasn't me. Silence. Heavy, final. She begged. Of course she did. When I informed her the divorce papers were already drafted, she dropped to her knees. Not dramatically, desperately. Please, she whispered. Don't ruin me. Ruin. An interesting word. I had already sent copies of the evidence to Dr. Kareem's licensing board. Professional misconduct, ethics violation. He would lose more than a marriage. I stood over her, watching the performance. You said he was arrogant, I murmured. She sobbed harder. I felt nothing. Then I told her about Switzerland, about the new will, about the fact that she would receive exactly what she deserved, her legal minimum. No house, no investments, no retirement accounts. Her face changed. Love disappeared. Fear remained. That was the truth. Not passion, not romance, security. And when security vanished, so did devotion. Days later, my daughter-in-law saw photos of the villa online, posted by a business associate. Glass walls, mountain backdrop, private dock. Her calls began immediately. 71 times. Suddenly I was dad. Suddenly Thanksgiving mattered. I didn't answer. Greed is loud. But I had learned the power of silence. The divorce finalized quietly. Dr. Kareem's practice closed within months. My son visits occasionally now. Alone. Polite. Careful. He never mentions inheritance anymore. My ex-wife moved into a small apartment in the city. I heard she blames him, and he blames her. That's fitting. I sit by the lake most mornings. Stillness is honest. I replay nothing. Regret requires attachment. I no longer have any. They mistook my calm for weakness. They mistook my therapy for vulnerability. They mistook my silence for ignorance. I let them. Because the most devastating revenge isn't loud. It's precise. And when the phone rings now, I let it. Because some lessons don't need words, they need absence.